Hey everyone, welcome back to Automation. So today we are going to be attempting to make our own Brabus vehicle. Now, if you don't know what Brabus is, basically they're a custom tuning company for Mercedes. So they have a car that's called the Brabus Rocket 900, and that's what we're going to be specifically trying to sort of mimic today, but obviously in my own way. The Brabus Rocket 900 is based on the Maybach S600, which comes with a 6 liter, I'm reading off of the article right now, but it's a 6 liter twin turbo V12. It's got 523 horsepower, which is a lot. But this Brabus version makes 888 horsepower, and it also has a 6.3 liter V12. So we're going to copy that stuff. But first, we need to select a body. First thing, I put it up to 2020. I want to have the newest possible year that we can, and we're going to be using this mod body because nothing else really fits. Now moving on to the chassis. So I said that we're going to be trying to mimic it, but I think we'll probably just kind of go our own way with a lot of the things. We're just going to mimic some of the base numbers. Like I'm going to go for that V12 twin turbo. I'm going to go for the 6.3 liter. I'm going to try to get 888 horsepower, but other than that, it's going to be very much our own thing going on. So for the panel material, I'm going to go ahead and say that it is corrosion resistant steel. I don't know if Mercedes is making their panels out of aluminum at this point, and it's probably a monocoque frame as well. The chassis material, we'll just say it is light steel, although this car is very heavy and is longitudinal, and we'll just go we'll go multi-link in the back. We'll leave the quality where it is for now. We might come back to it later. So a 60-degree V12. Let's make it an aluminum block. That might be a mistake. We'll go dual overhead cam. I don't have the exact specifications for the engine, so we're just going to be making it our own way. And we are going to go for 4MATIC, so it's going to be all-wheel drive. Just because wheel spin is going to be an issue otherwise, and I'm going to make it a 6.3 liter just like that. Now let's go billet steel. We are going to need good quality components in here, and 2020 does let us get those, so we'll see how that goes. VVT as well, we'll put that on, and turbos. We're going to need those twin turbos for this one. Now, as is standard with higher quality engines, we've just put on the best stuff we can here. Sorry, leaded fuel gang. We'll kind of come back to this afterwards. And dual exhaust, yeah, so no mufflers at all. Actually, you know what, this car would probably have mufflers, so we'll put some on. And yeah, I don't like doing it, but we'll just do it for the sake of this build, trying to be a little bit more realistic. So base numbers, we have made 348 horsepower without really trying. First thing we can do is raise the RPM limit. This should be a pretty strong engine. Wow, that is a very flat curve there. So we can get up to a decent RPM. First thing that we can do is quickly check this. Our exhaust is incredibly restrictive. Our intercooler is restrictive. Not good. We can build more power than this. Right, so I didn't have to do much, just raising the size of the intercooler and raising the size of the exhaust, and we have made 616 horsepower. Again, not much going on there. And just clicking erase preset, 791. It's going to be really easy to get up to this 800, I think. Right, so it is really easy to get more power out of this car. All you have to do is just turn up the fuel mixture and the thing goes up like way past 900. But for the sake of the build, I'm going to leave it right here. That is 889. That's perfect. It's not a terrible torque curve. It is a bit mountainous, especially here. But we're going to leave it like just like that. We're not even using all of our octane. But I mean, the people who are driving these cars don't exactly care. That is an 889 horsepower car without even having quality sliders. I like it. Right, so we're going to need the biggest possible saloon that we can get. No convertibles for this one. We're just going for this big one. Unfortunately, this is a mod body. It does not have as much customizability as some of the other ones. So we can only move this. And I'm just going to leave it about there. This is a Maybach, so the back doors would probably be bigger. It's basically a limo. Now, in true Brabus fashion, all of the cars are basically either black or I think they have them in white as well, but most of them are black. We're just going to go ahead and paint everything black. So I decided for the trim slots to go with a semi-chrome. It's not the actual chrome paint, but it is just chrome-ish painted paint, basically. That'll allow us to have like a nice chrome pinstripe. We're going to be doing some other things as well. This car is supposed to be luxurious, so chrome makes sense, but the actual chrome that comes with the game doesn't look quite how I want, so that's what I've done that. Alright, and this is where we're going to be spending the bulk of this video, the fixtures. This is going to take some time. I was actually a little bit worried about it, but I do have some reference images as well as an article on how this thing went. We'll go ahead and try and replicate the actual Mercedes design, and we'll see how far that gets us, and then we'll have to improvise a little bit. But it's probably going to be interesting. Sometimes when I recreate designs it works out well, and then other times it doesn't. So I'm hoping that this is one of those times where it turns out okay. I don't know why this is, but literally none of the door handles work for this. We might end up having to go with something like this, which just doesn't look right. Alright, door handles are in. For now, it makes sense. It's not the best possible match, but it does work for what we're going for here. I figure like the hardest part is probably going to be the front, but I'm kind of just going to do all the stuff that's around that first, and then we'll get onto the front and see what we can do there. So wheels are a bit of a challenge as well. The ones that are on there are quite unique as they are Brabus wheels, but what we can do is hopefully find ones that are at least somewhat similar. Just skipping ahead a little bit, I'm going to quickly add some numbers here. We have an estimated top speed now. So I'm just going to quickly go through these ones. I want to see what the wheels look like. Obviously, we'll just go semi-slicks as well. And then here, we can make the rims quite a bit bigger, because on this car they are massive. And then we're going to need bigger wheels as well. Okay, so that's about as big as it gets, but those rims are about the right size. And then I can guarantee that those are going to need to be huge. But that's as big as they're going to get. Well, I do like the rims, and I think that that is pretty much the style where you should be going for. It's too bad you can't widen the body though. It'd be nice to get a bit more width out of this one. Oh no, things are already getting a little bit weird, but slowly coming together, I'll say. Okay, that is a little bit debatable. Well, it's starting to look like a fish, but it is starting to at least come together slowly. Essentially, I'm just trying out different things, just hoping that they work. That's kind of how these rebuilds go. Actually, that's not bad for sort of a unique front end on the car. If I can bring this a little bit closer. The angles are obviously not quite perfect. Like if this was cut off maybe here and this was more pointy, it would fit better, but that's not terrible. We gotta continue to build the front end before we can make any final judgments. So I know I tend to use these pieces in a lot of builds, but they actually fit perfectly on this car, and it's just too good. It's unfortunate they have some slats in them that we just don't have the option for here, but that's pretty much perfect. Like, it lines up very well. So I'm doing that thing that I've done before where I use lips, but I use them in 3 parts instead of the usual just one big lip across. But I'm doing it with a purpose this time, and it's not really working out just yet, but we should be able to get it to work. I'm just trying to give it that appearance of being like up a little bit here. It's not perfect. In fact, it's not quite how I wanted. Maybe we'll just leave it as is. I don't like this car doesn't, it does have a lip, but it's not, it's like a notched lip, so it comes up and then down. But this can't really do that. We might have to do 2 more pieces. Let's see if we can get that to work. Alright, so now this design is just getting a little bit out of hand, but if we turn these and then we shrink them even more, and then we put these on upper layers, that doesn't quite fill it in as much as I would have hoped. Alright, so it has a completed notch. It's a little weird, but I actually kind of like it. It's definitely a unique feature. Like, I've never tried to do something like that before, so I think that's come out pretty decent. We just have to lower this maybe a little bit, and then hope for the best on that one. Now, there is one thing that I am having an issue with, which is there needs to be a bar across here, because that whole piece, like all these vents and things, stick in farther than the lights and such. So when trying to do that, I have already tried the trim piece, which is what I would normally do for that. So I was thinking I might try putting one of these on. Now, this already I can tell it sticks out too much, but it's sort of the right... it's getting to the right idea, which is kind of cool. So I just want to try and experiment with this kind of thing, just to see if it actually... Ooh, that's a little weird, but kind kind of getting there. Oh, I think I've got it. Oh yeah, that's gonna work. So I just have a spoiler on the front, and it actually kind of pulls it together. Like, that's kind of cool. I'm surprised that this is actually working, at least somewhat. It's definitely, like, if you look from afar, you can't really see the little details, but it's getting there. Like, this is starting to become something that I'm not too ashamed of, at least not yet. We have a ways to go though. Okay, first things first, we need to raise all of these pieces that I've just done, because they're not quite close enough to the end that we need there. So just gotta make all this bigger. There we go, that's a little bit better. Now we have a big empty space here, so what I'm going to try and do again is raise this up, and then raise these up as well, and then angle them even more so we get that full lip look. Now, to try and get even crazier with this, now this is pushing the limits a little bit here, but I'm going to try and stick one of these pieces on there. I'll put it over here first, but these are basically just cutouts. So if I can take this, stretch it out, and then put it down under here, it should cut that away. I mean, theoretically it should at least. Well, things are getting a little bit jumbled in here, but it's going to be hard to reselect this thing afterwards. So I'm just making sure that I got it. Alright, there we go. That's the cut right there. It's so unfortunate that this leaves a little piece, but it looks so good from a distance. That's so perfect. I'm doing it the hard way, but I'm liking it. And a little touch here as well that we're missing. I don't know, but I'm really enjoying just like faking it pretty much. Just like taking these cars and trying to make my own version of them. It's pretty fun. So I'm gonna take this piece here, and we won't make that chrome. Obviously, it's just gonna be the regular body colors. But there. Now we've got a line right down the middle, just like the actual Mercedes. And before I forget, we're going to need a badge. Things are slow to load today, but we're gonna need a badge on it. And well, let's make our own here. We'll just put this little dragon on. I think that fits decently well. It doesn't need to be anything crazy. Now the actual Brabus cars usually have a big B, but this particular model that I'm looking at, being a Maybach, doesn't have huge symbols on it like the other Mercedes do. It's a little more subtle, so just the small dragon is all we need. So I made a few tweaks to the lights so that they wrap around just like that. We're going to put a V12 symbol down here, but first things first, I want to add, well, we're going to need a trim piece down here too. And we're also going to need mirrors. I was worried about the front end, but I'm feeling good about it now. Let's try and add some mirrors. Now I can see that this one has lights on the mirrors, at least I think it does. Unfortunately, seems like we don't have too many options in that regard. I guess we could put these on there. Obviously the multicolored aspect of them isn't going to matter. We'll just be changing that color to be all black. And we'll make those white as well. Oh, I actually made the mirrored surface black too. Whoops. Chrome mirrors, that makes a lot more sense. And a continuing line there. Alright, and now we need a little bit of a chrome trim piece down here. We could use the actual trim pieces, but I'm actually going to go ahead and try the spoilers again, just because of how well that worked last time. Like, if we shrink the size of this, we make it the nice, wait, what? It's not changing color how I anticipated. So it will go on there, and it does exist, but it's not changing color, so obviously we can't use that. Let's give the chrome trim a try with the regular actual trim option then. We'll see if that does anything. Alright, so trim is on, we just have to change the color. Actually, yeah, just make that color. Hey, that is perfect. Yeah, that's exactly what I was looking for. Alright, I think we're good on all of the front and the sides as well. We haven't had any, well, we didn't add any sunroofs or moonroofs or anything, but we've got the V12 symbol on there, got some nice mirrors, chrome trim, front end is looking good. We just need to tackle the back end, so back to the reference pictures on this one. Okay, so the back end has a couple more features that we're going to have to try and emulate here. I don't think that the base game has enough like default features for this kind of thing, so we'll have to start first. Let's go ahead and give the roof a go. One thing that it does have that we can easily add is a nice antenna on the back, just a shark fin, nothing too fancy. We'll make that the color of the car as well. We are going to put, well, we won't put Brabus on the back, but we'll put our own brand name on there, and then also the model number up here. We need lights. We're going to need trim that wraps around. It goes up, and then it comes around the bumper line, and then down. So we'll copy that. Okay, got a few things to go here. Let's see if we can do it. So if the backlights that you want are not showing, like you can't find what you want within the options that they give for the back, go ahead and go to the front lights and then modify all the insides to fit what you need, because it's a lot easier to do that than it is to make your own custom lights. Right, after struggling with the lights for a bit, I've decided to move on to trying to get through this other piece here. We need to do a license plate holder, and we need to, well, fill it in basically. So it looks like this, has this nice piece like that, and then the Brabus license plate goes in there. But in this case, I'm using the camshaft plates. I cannot find the right rear lights that I'm looking for, so I'm just going to keep procrastinating for a bit here. We need to... Well, I need to think about that more, but I also need to put on some side trim, so may as well get that over with now. Basically, I'm just going to take these pieces here, mirror them of course. I will make them the right color just to start off with, and you can see sort of what it's going for. Like, this is an exaggeration, but that is kind of what we're after. Alright, so this line goes up and then into another line that goes all the way across the back here. It's actually a little bit lower than what I've done, so we'll lower that up a little bit and just make it exactly like this. And the exhaust is going to connect in on the sides as well. So just like I did on that other side, or actually it was on the back here as well, I'm just going to grab another big piece of the trim, change it to be the right color, and then we'll use that and cut out of it to make the things fit properly. Okay, so right down the middle at the back there's another trim piece, except it is dark colored, or it seems to be just kind of a hole in the trim piece. So what I'm going to do is take another piece like this, I'll bring it up in the layers, and then just drop it down so it's kind of in the middle here, and then just widen that up, and that sort of acts like the same kind of thing. And then it also happens to have some lights that are inside of it, so we can do that as well, just with these ones. Move them around a little bit. This is going to be a very small light, and it goes right at the end of the trim, just like that. So we have our own little custom fixture there, which seems to be working pretty much exactly as I would hope it would. I know that these are a little bit too big, so I'm just going to shrink them down a touch, and that is coming together. So if we continue on with the back end, we're going to need a few more pieces. Like, we need to make this look the part. You can see it has the exhaust pipes and everything there. But we still need tips on there, so we're going to need these for sure. And now this car has, it's got quad exhaust out the back, so we'll try to emulate that as well. Nice big tips, and right out on the sides, just like that. So the exhaust can be mapped properly. Looks pretty good. So I'm going to make further use out of this cutting out piece, which unfortunately doesn't quite do its job, but we can definitely work with it around these exhausts. So if it goes like this, we basically just need to make it look like the exhaust is kind of hanging out the back, and that does do it. So I think that's going to be fine. Yeah, there we go. So it looks like it's actually got an exit port there, which is good. We're going to need a diffuser now. I think we're going to have to make a custom one, just because looking at this, it doesn't seem like we're actually going to be able to get that. Alright, here we go. Let's try and do something here. So we need a light for sure, and then we're going to need some other pieces as well. What these pieces are, I am not sure yet. See, the game does come with some pre-made diffusers, and they're not terrible, but I can't really find a good use for them. They're just too big and not really flexible enough for what we're after. Now these ones here, they do work well. We could use this, and I was thinking about possibly... because this one is similar. Never mind, apparently that one doesn't want to go on, too big for the space that we have there. We'd have to put it up top and then shrink it, but we'll just avoid that for now. Okay, doing a bit of improvisation here. Gonna give this one a try. I don't know how well this is gonna turn out, but I think it's worth trying at the very least. Unfortunately, it does cut into the pipes a little bit there, and it doesn't quite connect as well as it should. Like, this should be a pretty solid connection. So we'll just have to fake it in there somehow. Okay, there we go. And then if we take this and just make it a solid piece, just like that, then it does kind of get where we're going. Alright, one issue I'm noticing immediately. All of this stuff should be directly connected to this piece. So it's either this piece is too high or this stuff is too low. And it seems like it might just be too low. So I gotta figure out how to mesh this together. Right, so an immediate issue that we're having with this. Now I've painted this all just like a darker color. It's probably gonna end up changing, but if we have everything connected up top, that means we are going to need to cut out all of the bottom, which isn't exactly easy because all of this has to go in that case. I don't know what to do there. I guess what we can do, we're gonna have to deviate from the design a little bit here, I think. We're just gonna have to fake it in, make our own thing go. Alright, so I did a bit of faking, just added some little vents up here so it sort of completes the design look of it. I like it. I think it turned out okay. This light sticks out a little bit farther than I would like, but I think that that is perfect. So one thing that we still need to conquer is the taillights. This is very important. And also we need to put a badge here. I forgot about that. Again, just using the dragon badge over and over again. It looks like it's gonna fit. Oh, that wasn't centered. Oh, whoops. But yeah, it looks like it's gonna fit perfectly right there. And this car has a nice natural lip to it as well, so that's gonna be perfect. Oh yeah, we need letters on the back too. That's why it's looking a little bit empty. Right, so on the topic of taillights, this Mercedes has some pretty unique back taillights, and they are going to be hard to replicate. Now, one thing that I was going to do, I already kind of improvised a lot on the fronts, having these bars here. They're modern looking, they pretty much fit what I'm going for, so I think that that's fine. But in terms of the back, we could sort of fake it in a little bit again using a front light. That's what I was thinking originally. I was thinking of going for something like this, and then maybe... Actually, these are the very similar ones to what's on the front, but just kind of turning them in. The problem is when you morph these too much, they just kind of look dumb. Like when they get super wide like this, it just doesn't make sense. The problem is that these taillights, they come in at like a pretty significant pinch here, so we need that. But then they also have a bit of a point here and like a flat spot here, so it comes up, down, and then comes back around and in. So that's where the challenge comes with this one. There's just nothing that works like that in the game, so going to have to maybe do a composite taillight like I've done in the past. We might have to mix two together to get this to work. Alright, so I've been able to find something similar, which is good. Just have to select which one to use. Probably going to go with that one. It's not, I mean, it's not really at all what the Mercedes has, but I think it's going to be fine. It's a little bit different. We'll change the color of it, obviously, but yeah, maybe just a little more tweaking on this one. It doesn't want to morph at all. It seems to be pretty stuck where it is, so yeah, not much we can do there. I might bring another light in just to fill up this gap. We'll see in a bit. Alright, here it is. The King 630. 630 representing the size of the engine and the time you have to wake up tomorrow morning. But yeah, this is what we've got. King is back with a luxury vehicle representation in the luxury market, the luxury saloon market specifically. But this thing is massive. V12, big power, and hopefully decent drivability. I think it's turned out very, very well. I'm actually quite happy with the design of this one. It's been over an hour of just like tuning the little details, but I like it. I think it's turned out pretty much perfect. This is honestly better than I thought. However, there are a few things that I just missed that I'm now remembering. We need to put a gas cap on there somewhere. Don't worry, I haven't forgotten. There we go. It's basically invisible, but that is the gas cap right there. There we go. King 630. Let's go. So it's going to be all-wheel drive, dual clutch, 7-speed. It can go up to 362. Currently it has no wheel spin issues, which is amazing. We do have an electric LSD in this, and I'm thinking it's going to be pretty slow. Like we're going to go comfort for sure with this one. It's not about the power. It's more like a Rolls in that way. Like it's got good power, but it's more about comfort. So if we can get away with, you know what, we should probably try sports compound and very low profile tires. That's fine. We'll figure that out in a bit. This should be pretty heavy, I would assume. So we'll deal with that when we get to it. So I'm thinking the stopping power is going to need to be pretty strong. Let's go for a fully clad and active wing. I don't think it doesn't even have a wing though. That's the thing. Seats, it's not going to be like that. It's definitely going to be like this. Handmade interior, luxury. I know I don't usually do that, but we're going to do it for this car. And we'll go for electric variable. I do not like ESC at all, but I'm going to put traction control and ABS on there. And we'll go for advanced safety. I want it to weigh a lot, and that's why I'm doing these things, just because it makes more sense for it to weigh like a significant amount. And we'll go for a comfort preset. Yeah, that might be a mistake. We'll see how this thing drives. It might wallow around like a boat a little bit, but we'll see. Wow, okay. 2,800 kilos. Yikes. That's really heavy. Okay, let's go back and adjust some of these graphs. So 0 to 100 in 3.3 seconds. Luxury premium is actually, it's actually going to be able to sell in that market, which is surprising. Our top speed has gone up, so we can increase that. And our wheel spin is causing issues. Uh-oh. Let's go back to semi-slicks for sure on that, and that'll hopefully help a little bit. Having this much power, it makes sense that the wheel spin would be an issue. I'm going to lower the front. There we go. That is actually helping quite a bit. Seems like there's a lot of weight in the back to keep it down, so we'll just have it at a 70-30 split. Mostly rear wheel drive, but it does have that front wheel drive option. Now the wheels, this is as big as they get, and it seems like it's in a decent line here, but not quite perfect. We can lower down the size of the fronts to help get that back into line, and I think that's going to help us quite a bit. If we just check our offsets real quick, it looks fine, but we'll give it the 0.5 offset there. Not much we can do about this, even this like bump there, that is not good, but we'll just leave this as is. Now brakes, uh-oh, things are going wrong with the brakes here. We have our rear brakes all the way down, and the front brakes are all the way down as well, but we need to get up to here because the brakes are not nearly strong enough. So let's go 6 pistons in the carbon ceramic, which is going to help quite a bit, and I'm just going to raise the size of these front brakes significantly. This thing weighs a lot, so we need that stopping power. Tires have blown out due to being overloaded. Uh-oh. Okay, it seems like we do have an issue. We'll go down 1 rim size, and we should have everything fixed. This game does not like it when you put big rims on cars, which is unfortunate, but like that's as big as the tires can get on this, so. Okay, continuing on, we do have 6 piston carbon ceramic brakes. There we go. So the rear brakes don't need to be anywhere near as big, but we are going to need to increase the pad type as well, so we can hopefully have some braking power in the front. There we go. So this car has massive, in fact it has full-size front brakes, and it's got tiny, tiny, tiny rear brakes. Can't even see them, they're so small. So yeah, we'll just go with that for now. It's probably going to complain a little bit, but that's going to be how it is. Alright, so the game was complaining about power distribution. I went ahead and changed that back. However, the problem with that is it increases our wheel spin quite significantly, but I guess based on the way that the game's saying, we'll just go with it like that, and that should, I mean, everything else seems to be fine. 6 piston carbon ceramic brakes is like, that's overkill for sure on this car. We'll just increase this stuff a little bit. And our front, actually this is our rear wing, which is non-existent, basically has nothing, but our front wing you can see is quite strong. I don't think we even have a rear wing, so it doesn't actually matter what we do here. We could add a little bit of a stealthy one, but yeah, we're just not going to have any rear downforce apparently. Oh well. Alright, not too many warnings. I think we've got this car down. So let's go ahead and take it to beam. It's not really a race car, we're just going to cruise for a bit, see what it drives like. 888 horsepower, the King 630. Here we go. Alright, so here is the King 630 in game. One issue that's pretty obvious is the taillights are unfortunately clipping, and the top part of the taillights is like very red. I don't know why that is, but yeah. I also put a little bit of a turn signal, actually it's a backup light, in the bottom of the taillights, which does actually blend in, which is really cool, and it lights up properly as well, which is extremely cool. So I'm pretty happy with the way that it looks. Overall though, not bad. Like, not a bad looking car. Now when it comes to driving, you'll notice it does say it has ESC, but it is just traction control, so it doesn't spin the wheels as badly as usual. Being a comfort preset car on air suspension may have been a mistake. I probably should have put it on a sport preset. However, it wobbles around in all the right ways. With that V12 under the hood, this car is a boat. It has some serious pickup though, even for being something that is this heavy. I really think it has that Maybach look to it. Like, it just works for this. I'm having a good time just messing around with it. I think if we were going to try to do any races with it, I would turn off the ESC just because it does cut the power when you want to come around the corner properly, but when it comes to just standard driving, this car is like a pillow. It's so good. I just don't make cars like this too often, so it's weird to experience it. Now, just as a demonstration, let's go over some of the bumps over here, just so you can see what I'm talking about. You can just like go over these bumps. Now you're bouncing around towards the end, but in a lot of my cars you just get destroyed on those. Some of them are just, the suspension is just made out of bricks on some of the cars that I make, so it's kind of cool to see. Nice dynamic suspension there. Now I don't have anything particular planned for the season cars. I need to come up with a track still. Oh yeah, this car is so boaty, by the way, that it bounces up and down like this. But I don't have a track selected, so we're not going to test this one on a track yet. We will in the future, but for now it's just going to be the grid map. I know this video is already probably pretty long, so I don't want to delay things too much. However, I am having just a lot of fun with this car bouncing around, and it took a long time to design it, and I'm really happy with the way it turned out, so let me know what you think. Let's go for a loop in it as we we bottom out heavily, and unfortunately I kind of missed it. Well, that's unfortunate. So yeah, that's going to be it for this video. A bit of a shorter beam portion, but that's going to be, well, what you get for now. This car will definitely be back in the future though, so don't worry. We're going to be doing more with the King 630. It's going to be fun. I just want to thank those who have supported the channel via the join button, specifically Will, thank you for your support. And if you're interested in more videos like these, I have a pretty significant playlist that you should check out, as well as a ton more builds on the channel, so yeah, let's keep going. Next week, more builds.